wide, so embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win, like lots of simple popping it like oxygen when boxes wet. Focus on the mental, never lose like smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pinto, choose what I get to. Never lose smooth on the move, but it's simple. Never give up if we winning it, maybe. We just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision that pay me is never this.
We're back. Bud's back.
Bud Copeland is back in the house.
Have you been drinking?
Nothing but apple juice.
Nothing but apple juice and rage.
Yeah, that sums it up, dude. Perfectly, yes.
What's the title of this episode? Apple juice and rage.
I'm gonna have to change the title because I love that name actually. It is Tuesday night, so yes, this is Divots and Pivots. I am Angelo Duke, aka Mr. Mallet, and this is Bud Copeland back. Whoa. He's back, baby, on the airwaves with me. I'm excited for us to be back together. We've been holding it down, making it happen, but there is nothing like Andrew and Bud. It just goes together. That and peanut butter and jelly.
Shout out to Keith and all the boys for TJ and them for holding it down. As always, we are brought to you by our friend Nate over at Acorn Hills. Shout out Acorn Hills, acornhillsco.com. Go catch their summer swag, TBFY15 for 15% off. Let them know Bud sent you. How have you been, my guy? You got a haircut since I've been gone.
Did I? Has it been that long? Because I don't remember the last time I got a haircut, but I think I have. But yes, I did get a haircut. I got my wedding trial haircut is coming up actually in a few weeks. So that's because I'm gonna shell out the extra money to just have my barber like give me the shave, like the full shave, the close razor, single razor shave, and so that when like 2 days before the wedding, I'll actually have her do that again. So the next one coming up is gonna be the trial. I'm excited for it. But yeah, I got a haircut. Thank you. And you. Okay, you're done. Bye. You are done.
There's a fucking phenomenal movie from the early 90s. I want to say it's 94, 91, 92, somewhere. Jeremy Piven, David Spade. It's called PCU, and PCU stands for Port Chester University. But really, the pun is it's politically correct university. Because if you think that we haven't been through this whole, woke this, DEI that. Think again, the early 90s, it was called political correctness right after civil rights. There was nothing. So anyways, and there's a scene where Jeremy Piven is this like 7th year senior and he's, a party guy, this, that, and the other, but he's also, it's very Van Wilder like where he's been there 7 years, but not because he's a total fuck up. He just enjoys it. So he has all of these like thesis that he can sell to people, papers, if you need a paper for hire. Because one of his people accidentally fucked up something in the computer lab. Everybody loses their shit. So he's like, come on, I'll make it right. And somebody asks him for a thesis on physical education, PE, and he just kicks the person out of their room. And I feel like Anna just asked you for a thesis on PE. You said phys ed. You're majoring in phys ed. Okay, get out of here. No, we're not doing that right now. Anyway, that was a long roundabout way for me to work in a PCU in an early 90s cultural reference. We're back to the 90s. Happy Gilmore is in vogue.
We are, and I've never seen
what that.
Oh, I was gonna say I've never seen that movie you just referenced, but if you did happen to see one of the second episode that was just me and TJ while you were gone, PC went out the fucking window real fast. You want to talk about a hard pivot for Divots and Pivots? Ooh, that was a fun one.
We're not canceled. No, so PCU early 90s pull because we're back to the 90s with Happy Gilmore at the top of the box office, quote unquote, biggest Netflix opening for any American film. It was awesome. Mm-hmm. We're going to get there, so hang in there. That's going to be play a big part of this episode. But I'll fill anybody in. I disappeared for about a month or so because I moved. I changed houses. I think we alluded to it. Which City Studios was sold and is under new ownership. We are now at the Bunkhouse here in Kennebunk, Maine. I don't know. We're workshopping that Bunkhouse Studios. I'm in my temporary
I was gonna say, is that what we're calling another? Because I like the Bunkhouse. I like that.
Bunkhouse Studios might be what I end up calling it. I'm in my bedroom right now because my official studio is going to be eventually in my workshop downstairs, attached to the garage. It stays cool in the summer. It's easy to heat in the winter. It's my own space. It's girthy, so to speak. So we will eventually get set up down here. But today it's 900.
Every man needs a girthy space.
Everybody loves girth. It is a 9 bajillion degrees in New England today. So I decided to bring the show inside, upstairs, and where the magic happens, as they would say. I mean, this is the most New England thing in the world. I got the in-window
the window AC.
Because
the only thing you're missing is the cardboard sides with the duct tape around it. That's the only thing you're missing. You need the cardboard sides with the duct tape rectangle around it.
We only have to run these things periodically. I told Allie we're not sealing all the cracks. Now, I've never had a house that didn't have central AC, and I know people up north are like, oh really? I grew up in Florida. Like they just don't build houses down there without air conditioning. So wall units and stuff have been a fun adjustment. So we moved. We are in Kennebunk. We're gonna start enjoying a little more Maine golf, and you'll be getting more of that through this show as well. Exposure to that world. It's slim. It's not. I'm not gonna say slim pickings. I'm gonna say diamonds in the rough, because I've already encountered a couple courses where I didn't even know they existed, and I'm like, damn, these are nice tracks. These are sweet tracks. So stay tuned for more. Boudreaux's got 36 on the horizon this weekend. The roommate's out of town, taking the kid to Santa's Village with one of their friends. Thank God for that.
Oh, dude. All right. First, okay, right. First pivot of the first episode back from the two of us. Santa's Village, 100% greater than Storyland.
I can't argue with that because I've never been to either.
Oh Jesus! Oh, okay. You are not. You're definitely not a full New Englander yet. You're right. You know what? I was giving. I know you didn't, but I was giving you that status way too early, apparently, because you're not there yet.
And I'm not even going.
If you go to Storyland, can compare it to Santa's Village? I know you're not even going. I know, but Santa's Village is so much better than Storyland, hands down.
We'll let the internet decide. We'll clip this and put it on a poll: Santa's Village versus Storyland, and all of the I-95 corridor from Maine to Massachusetts will erupt. No, I grew up actually, fortunately enough, in a simpler time when you could do this on a budget. My family grew up going to Disney World. We lived in Florida, and at the time, like in-state passes for a family were so cheap that my mom would get all the kids would get a family pass for Christmas, and that way. We'd look peanut butter jelly sandwiches in a brown paper bag. We didn't do the gift stores. We just wake up early in the morning, drive an hour and a half, hour 45 to Disney, ride rides, and then come home. It was actually kind of looking back on it. I'm not gonna say unique, but it was just simpler times as opposed to today where a day at Disney can basically max out your credit card. You have to take an extra mortgage. All right. So we've relocated. We've moved. Maine golf is going to be a scene. Let's talk majors. Scotty, while I was gone, Scotty wins the Open. Great, grand, wonderful, fantastic.
Scotty did win the Open.
My first question to you is, what is your kind of take, big picture, on major season 2025?
Yeah, so I'm glad you framed it this way, because I'm going to shoot it right back you on the thought that I had on last week's show. Here was that, so overall, I actually felt kind of underwhelmed by the majors outside of the Masters. To kick it off with the Rory Master win, like that was a fantastic way to kick off the major season. Outside of that, I felt underwhelmed with the majors as a whole. I felt like it just wasn't necessarily competitive enough, or the names weren't, whatever it was. I just wasn't fully on board with the majors. The conclusion I came to last week was that this is Scotty's world, and we're living in it. And Scotty's going to get the career Grand Slam. It's just a matter of when. And yeah, it's boring, honestly, because we know what's going to happen. So in a sense, it's boring. So I proposed the question of, what do we need from Scotty next to excite us? Like, what does Scotty got to do next to excite us? And it became very simple to me. Scotty needs to lead the Ryder Cup. If Scotty's going to be the dominant number one in the world, and be a U.S. golfer and go over to the Open Championship and dominate on a European course, he has got to show up when it matters most for his country. He has to show up and do better than 0-2-2 like he did in the last Ryder Cup. He has got to show up and own the Ryder Cup. Because and the point I made was that even though Tiger's Ryder Cup technical record wasn't necessarily stellar. Like, it was good. It was better than most, but it wasn't exactly like record breaking.
Better
What
than
Tiger
most.
brought to the Ryder Cup, it was better than most. But what more so he brought to the Ryder Cup that Scotty doesn't necessarily bring to the Ryder Cup was he brought that intimidation and that passion factor that Scotty is such a more even-keeled guy that he doesn't necessarily bring that level of intensity that Tiger brought. Scotty just goes out there and does Scotty, and he succeeds at doing Scotty. I need him to go out there. If he's not going to bring the intimidation factor, I need him to go out there and sweep his matches. And he's got to carry the U.S. team. Like, that's what I need out of Scotty to prove to me that he's ready to go to the next level of eliteness that he's already proven that he can get to. The next level is the Ryder Cup. He's got to do better than he did last time. And that's my pivot off of the majors. Because honestly, like I said, the majors to me this season, there's been better major seasons. I think the regular season of golf has been more exciting than the majors have been this year. We saw the rise of Ben Griffin. We saw a bunch of stuff happen this year that I thought was more exciting than the majors, other than Rory McIlroy winning the Masters.
We have seen more engaging golf outside of the majors, but I'm going to answer my first question, which is I think this might be one of the greatest seminal major seasons in the new era, the post-Tiger era. This is the first one that we're going to look back on as a mile marker because of what Scotty was coming off of last year and then how he did it this year. Very ho-hum, very business-like, blew people out of the fucking water. And and the ratings were up. So I mean, people are eating it up. And I'll walk you through why I think it's one of the most perfect majors. And this is kind of how you want a major season to go. A little gluttonous with Scotty taking 2 of them. But I'd rather Scotty take 2 than Joe Shit the Ragman come in and, we get 275th in the world winning the PGA Championship. And then everybody's like, oh, see, it's a podunk, major. So I think that first of all,
it's no different than when Xander took 2 years ago. You know what I mean? He's not like it's
because Xander wasn't coming off.
Yeah.
Xander wasn't coming off a season where he won 8 times, including a gold medal. And it's like, what can you do next? Oh, okay, I'll follow it up with this. Xander was a flash. He caught lightning in a bottle. It was Jordan Spieth in 2015. It was Rory the first 4. Xander. So back to what I was saying with Scotty, or even with this major season, you're right that the major of the year, and quite possibly it's going to be a major for all the ages, is the 2025 Masters. Rory, the finish, the collapse, the playoff, he's gonna blow it. No, he didn't blow it. Yes, he's gonna blow it. Like it was one of the greatest days of golf history, again, in this new post-Tiger era, because COVID was the unofficial official dividing line. We got 2019 Tiger, and now we've all accepted it. We're not getting it anymore. Maybe. That's what it was. Enjoy it for what it was.
I'll
never shut the door because Phil at 50 at 8,000 yards at Kiowa. Tiger's familiar with Augusta National. Tiger's familiar with some of these open courses that are flat. So the stars could align, but the expectation's never there. So who's the BSD on tour? Obviously, it's Scotty. He's world number 1. He just won the gold medal. He won 8 times last year, including major. So he comes out, and right after Rory does his thing, Scotty reminds us, hey, I'm here. He wins the PGA. Then, so we've got you need your great players to play great. It's kind of like it was a great year when Tiger won a major because we felt like, so we get the Rory story, which is one for all the ages. He gets the career Grand Slam. Then Scotty comes in, wins the PGA at Quail Hollow to remind everybody that, holy shit, like there is a king in this game. JJ Spawn was the Cinderella story we needed because, again, nobody wants World 273 to come out of nowhere and ruin everybody's good time. And we're like, oh, God, like he got lucky. No, he didn't get lucky. He got his teeth kicked in by Rory in a playoff. And I mean that metaphorically. It wasn't like a huge ass whooping. It's just a tall order to take on Rory McIlroy after sleeping on it overnight.
Mentally, it was something he had to overcome. He had to
it sharpened him and put it and he's been floating around the top. And then out of nowhere, at the U.S. Open, the way it's supposed to be, where there's 20 or 30 guys that you have your eyes on, and like, all right, who's gonna just win it out? And it's kind of like you're the champion golfer of the year for you. I think the U.S. Open is genuinely who is the best on the planet. If you're gonna do, Scotty's the best golfer on the planet, but it's almost like the New England Patriots went 18-1, but they didn't win the Super Bowl, but they were definitely the best team that year. One of those arguments. JJ Spawn won the Super Bowl. He won the U.S. Open. He's not the best golfer in America. So boom, U.S. Open did its job, and then Scotty comes back for his encore at the Open Championship, walking away to kind of cement. So I can hear what you say. I can see that argument where it's boring, it's ho hum, and my counter to that would be it's not. It's excellence at its peak. And what more can you ask for?
100% it is.
What more can you ask for? We have a clear cut best in the world. We have a finally one of our great champions again, like Phil at 50. Just this thing that happens to Rory that make sure that everything after this is just gravy. And so I think everything's great with the majors. I do agree with you that Scotty, if he really wants to separate himself in the long run, because I got to go on a tiny rant here. The comparisons to Tiger are fun and fair. Like, oh, it was 1,172 days between their first major and fourth major. Look at that. Whatever, that witch doctor shit.
Exactly.
And I also
that's what I said last week. You can do the math to make comparisons, but it doesn't mean they're the same. They're doing it totally different ways.
They're not. It's not that. Well, I'm going to get to that actually. In the game of golf,
I figured you were.
In the game of golf, in the game of modern golf, we've essentially had 3 measuring sticks. Bobby Jones, he kind of was the first modern, even like Walter Hagen was the Phil Mickelson, to Tiger, Bobby Jones, that was the Walter Hagen thing.
Sure.
But there was Bobby Jones. That was the standard for a long time. And then Jack came along and did his business. And then everything was compared to, and now we don't take modern golfers and compare them to Jack. We compare them to Tiger because that's our current measuring stick. So correct. I think the importance it's not just fun. It's important to point out some of the things that Scotty is doing to say, hey, and Big Cat, that was kind of the way he did it. I don't think it's fair to say he's the next one, but I do think it is essential to say, like, the stuff that Scotty's doing, the run that he's been on the last 18 months, where take a career like Jordan Spieth, where there's no golfer on the planet who would turn it down. Scotty has had that career in the last 18 months, and he's not showing any sign of slowing up. You asked earlier, what's next for him? What's next for him is to, like you said, get that career Grand Slam. Boom. That's going to be number 5. What's that next after that? Double digits. Brooks Koepka says that's his career goal. Like his personal career goal is double digits majors. What's going to be after that? 15. Why 15? Tiger's got 15. And then if you're still young enough, what's after that? 18. So he has those. So when you bring up the Ryder Cup, I find that fascinating because I do think in this era, we're back in the days of it means so much because we've been losing so much that if he can be the guy, if he can be that dude on the course, he's never going to be that dude, emotionally and like outwardly, but the guys even say it. It's just a different kind of scary. Jack Nicklaus was not like that. He was not flamboyant and flashy and loud. He was quiet and calculating and cool, and he was a killer. Tiger just happened to be quiet, calculating, cool, and a killer, and then walked around with a ginormous crowd that was loud for him. It was just something that we had never seen before in the golf course. Right. So I think we're kind of seeing a return to classic greatness on the golf course, and also the balance, because the last taste of greatness in our mouth was left, with this like, oh, but he sacrificed so much in his personal life. Tiger with the substance abuse, with the infidelity, with the divorces. There's all this nonsense, and people are like, yeah, it was the only way he knew how to do it. Time out. Ever heard of Barbara and Jack Nicklaus? They've never. Yeah, come on. That's so well, no. So I'm saying like, I think that's why it's kind of weird to us is instead of Maxi Golf, instead of flashy, instead of Bryson being the one that's kind of winning 50.
You brought up Maxi Golf earlier. We'll get there, but you brought it up earlier.
But instead of that being the next evolution, Scotty is a reminder and a throwback to and the concern I have to that, quiet, calculated, purposeful, Christian, God-fearing men and blah, blah, blah. He gave us a hint when he said, what's it all for? And he kind of reminded us, I'm not put on earth to be a golfer. My golfer's my 9 to 5. What concerns me is that when Bennett, like his son, let's say Bennett turns 12 and Scotty looks around and goes, God, I want to coach his little league team. I'm done. You hear about those greats like Barry Sanders just walked away from the Lions, just pieced out when he could have gotten, so many career records. So I worry about that with Scotty.
That's where I think golf is. But that's where I think golf is unique to where, let's be honest, by the time Bennett's 12, Scotty's most likely going to have this established epic career. that he's gonna have all these exemptions where he's gonna be able to pull the Tiger card where he's really only playing the majors. So
Well,
he's
he's
gonna be able
already
to balance. He's gonna be able to either the majors, just the majors, or just the majors and the players and a couple signature events. Like he's gonna be able to play basically the live golf schedule and still be able to do all those things you're mentioning with his son. Like I think by the time that were to happen, he's going to have built the life he wants with himself, for himself, and to be as a father. Like I think that's exactly the path that he's on, and I 100% agree with you that that's what his focus is going to be because he's already proven that. He's even this last week he didn't let himself. I said it last week. He didn't let himself celebrate until he saw his wife and Bennett. Like that was it. Like he and I think that's what people. And so I agree. I think it's sweet. I'm here for it. I love it. People seem to be pissed about it that he's like disrespecting what it means to win a golf tournament, and I'm like, nah. Like you got to realize he is a very rare form that he has it in perspective. He's out there, like you said. This is his 9 to 5, and he's succeeding at his 9 to 5. But it doesn't mean shit if he doesn't have his wife and his son with him. And so he doesn't want to enjoy it until he sees them. And I am all for that. I love that. Good for Scotty. People have to get on board that, like you said, this is a different way of winning than we're used to seeing with Tiger because Tiger was dominant in such a cutthroat
Tiger was a killer.
way.
He was he was outward saying, I want to chase 18. Yeah.
Right. And Scotty's a killer, but in such a more controlled way to where he understands his life and what's important to him in his life. And I respect that he can find that control to be able to move on from, hey, yeah, I won this tournament. This means a lot for me. But I'm either now going to turn my focus to the next tournament or I'm going to turn my focus to, hey, I have a cookout with my family this weekend. And that's now, in this moment, 10 minutes after I've won this tournament, that's now more important to me. I respect that because that is so hard to do. On the professional level, when you're in the public eye, that's impossible to do. And he has somehow found the magic formula to be able to do that. So what I said last week, I think Scotty Scheffler is just, he's not the type of winner that people are ready for.
You mentioned Liv, and we're not going to go deep into Liv, but it did make me think of Joaquin Niemann and how he won again, and people are bringing up the amount of money that he's won, but he's just been shitting the bed on the majors, and so I think the great Liv experiment is dead, and there's some more kind of irony to unpack there when we talk about Happy Gilmore too.
Yes. Yes.
The Ryder Cup is actually where I wanted to go with that because Joaquin Niemann is not eligible for the Ryder Cup, but John Rahm is, Tyrrell Hatton is, and you mentioned Scotty. So the current situation, Scotty's in, Bryson's in. I think there's JJ Spawn is sitting at number 3, so he's pretty safe right there. I don't see anybody leaping him after the U.S. Open. I think Russell Henley, Harris English are up there, which excites me. And then there's
last
JT.
I saw Russell Henley was 4th, so he's a lock. Harris English was kind of on the bubble, but I think he's close enough that he's kind of a lock too.
And then Brooksy's nowhere to be seen. I don't know if you allow a guy like that on the team just because he hasn't shown any. He showed a little bit of peeked his head a little bit, but he hasn't really done much of note. Who are you? So, here's my question. We got a couple of quick questions that I'm stealing from my boy, our boy Jeff Hartman over at Golfer Gang Network. He had me on his 2-man scramble earlier today, and he asked me this, and it was kind of telling. We led with this. What is going to happen with Keegan Bradley?
Keegan Bradley's into me. I don't see how Keegan Bradley's not on this team. I still think he's and I think what makes it a lock for Keegan Bradley to be in is some of the guys around him in the standings. I know Keegan's dropped back a little bit since the last time we talked about this. I think the last time we talked about him, he was like 8th in the standings, so it felt like a lock. I think he's dropped back a little bit since then.
He's 9th or 10th, yeah.
But Keegan Bradley is still a lock to me because I think I'd rather still have and I think everybody would rather still have Keegan over someone like an Andrew Novak, who, no disrespect to Andrew Novak, but you have to have
all the disrespect in the world. Fuck that guy. I'm just kidding.
You have to have a certain, I know, but you have to have a certain level of fight in you. And I think Keegan has that fight. He understands the assignment. And I think if there was and this might be propping Keegan up too much, but if there's someone that embodies U.S. golf as much as Arnie did when he was the last playing captain, it's hard to make an argument against Keegan. I think there's an argument that Keegan, from both not just the play standpoint, but because he's not necessarily the best player that could be involved, but once you balance out the play plus the team aspect plus the passion plus the understanding of the camaraderie and the team building, I think it's hard. I think it's very much in play to make an argument that Keegan Bradley is one of the few people that could mirror what Arnie was able to do back in the 70s as a playing captain. I think Keegan has it in him. And I think his passion for what U.S. golf means to him puts him over the edge, that it elevates his game, but not just elevates his game. I think it elevates others' games. Like Bryson, Scotty, JT, like these established guys, like they're not going to need, like Xander, Colin, whatever, they're not going to need Keegan to elevate their game. But if we're talking about having guys like Harris English, possibly Andrew Novak, Ben Griffin, these first timers on the Ryder Cup team, they need someone like Keegan Bradley to elevate their game, to speak into them and say, hey, this is what needs to happen. This is how this is going to be. Like, you need to tap into this. That's where Keegan's going to be useful to this team. And when it comes to the Ryder Cup, you mentioned it earlier that the Ryder Cup's becoming more popular and whatnot. And yes, it 100% is, but we're kind of in this, I don't want to say funk, but we're kind of in this pattern of Europe wins in Europe, U.S. wins in U.S. It's this back and forth, the home team wins. I think the second the away team wins, this is going to explode. I think the Ryder Cup is going to explode from a fandom standpoint. And obviously, I think the U.S. is going to win this year. I think they have it. I think Bethpage Black is the perfect setup for this, what this team looks like it's going to be for the U.S. team. It's going to be the following Ryder Cup that I think they have to cement themselves. And I think Keegan Bradley's the type of captain is going to
truth gun to your head. Where is it going to be?
The type of captain that will cement himself. I don't remember where it's going to be. I know I saw that in like
it's called Adair
or whatever. It's going to be in Spain.
No, it's called Adair Manor in Ireland. The guys have been pumped about this place in 2027 for years and years and years. Keegan Bradley, I think, set the table for this scenario. One sec. So
take your sip. It's all
earlier this year, he said, if you're not in the top 6, you can't expect to be on this team. I think he did that to set this up where no matter what the pressure is and the fans and everything like that, and the players and this, that, and the other, I think that there's going to be a little bit of a not wanting, so because I think it could be seen as a tough look to take a spot from somebody who maybe should be on there. And, it's like, well, focus on, I could see him not picking himself for that reason, knowing what it's like to feel like you've played yourself into there and, and just saying, I'm going to focus on being a captain, this, that, and that. I could see that. What do I think is going to happen?
I can see that too.
I think he's going to jump. I think he's going to go from 10 to maybe 8 or 9 in the next 2 weeks.
Right.
Or there's just gonna be so much internal, like, bro, you got to do it. We got to do it. Like, we're in such a good spot for it because, like you said, the names around Maverick, McNeely, Andrew Novak, they're not big enough to bump Keegan off of that spot. And so I could see him. That's why I said, like, I think he was hedging to be able to not pick himself if he wasn't in form by saying
he's doing the right thing as far as keeping things open and keeping things level keel. But 100% get what he's doing.
He just confirmed that they have they've amended his captain's agreement to allow him to be a playing captain and then like let somebody else officially handle some of those duties while he's on the course. So that to me is like the cat's out of the bag. He's going to be a playing captain. So if you look at the standings and we know who 1 through 6 are, and honestly, I don't, even if those things slip just, a scotch, I don't see anybody telling Harris English, like, dude, you went from 6 to 7, go fuck yourself, because he's actually in pretty decent form.
I don't see that either.
So we'll assume that Scotty, Xander, JJ, Russell, Bryson, and Harris are in. That's the core 6. We'll assume that.
Right.
Yeah. JT at 7, which I think you almost have to bring him at 7. It was kind of wild out there to say you don't
forced him in last year.
Yeah,
2
you
years ago,
forced
they
him in
have to put
last
him in
time.
there
He's
if he's
earned
that
it.
close.
Colin Morikawa at 8 could be expendable if he's not. If he doesn't do something worthwhile in the FedEx Cup playoffs, I could see him being expendable. But I also think that he's a major champion.
Because
he's been on these teams, and you don't leave him at home.
I posed this question last week when it comes to Colin Morikawa: is Keegan going to approach this to where if Colin just isn't necessarily in the greatest form leading into it, he's kind of that he's in a villain arc right now. Like
Right.
U.S. fans don't necessarily like Colin. Does that play into the decision? I know you don't like Colin at the moment, but like, does that play into the decision to where like
he's becoming unlikable?
He's not in great form, but let's like he's not in the greatest form, and let's throw on top of it that fans don't really like him right now. Like I think that might play into it because I think Keegan is looking at the last Ryder Cup team, and from the outside looking in, he sees, hey, this was not a cohesive group. I think he's very consciously making sure he puts together a group that meshes well. And I'm not sure Colin is that guy. I just don't. I'm not sure he is. So I 100% agree with that. I think Colin is expendable if he doesn't prove something over the next couple of weeks.
And I actually think Ben Griffin right below him is more expendable if he doesn't show something in the next couple of weeks. Aside from the fact that he's a fan favorite, love him on the TikToks, he's won twice this year. At that level, I think that he is in a position of, as long as he doesn't O2 barbecue at the FedEx Cup playoffs, as long as he doesn't do something like go shoot 80-80 and look like a dick, as long as his name is mentioned in some sort of prominent network coverage, like, oh, and we're going to go to Ben Griffin at 12. Yep, he's had a hell of a year. Like, as long as he's playing well enough to get that exposure, I think he's a lock to keep him on the team. Down there at number 9. And that means that Colin Morikawa is even more expendable to say, like, listen, we got to go with the hot hand lately, and that's going to be Ben. So then Keegan at 10, I think you're right. I think that he's going to end up on this team again unless something drastic happens. And 11 and 12, this is where the 11 and 12 has never been like automatic. You have to be trending. And I'm sorry, but Maverick McNeely nor Brian Harman are trending. And so looking below that, you already mentioned Andrew Novak. He's not somebody that you bring all the way up.
I don't want him on it. No,
and that's why you have to get down below that 14 to 20. We got Patrick Cantlay, Sam Burns.
I want Cantlay back on this team. He's someone I want.
Clark, Lucas Glover, Daniel Berger, Cam Young, and Chris Gotterup. Chris Gotterup would be, if Chris Gotterup makes a run in the FedEx Cup playoffs the way that what he did over winning the Scottish Open and then having a showing, if he wins a tournament in the FedEx Cup playoffs, put him in there. But I'm with you. Give me Patty Ice, give me Sam Burns, 100%. And give me Daniel Berger or Cam Young. I kind of like if Cam Young's in form. If Cam Young shows form in FedEx Cup playoffs, if he pulls off something where he's top 10, or even gets a win in there, he was really passed over, kind of fucked over almost for the Ryder Cup 2 years ago. Right. He was one of the guys who got left out in the cold. And I almost think if you do that too much, you might lose the potential that he has. Although the counter to that would be, nothing's guaranteed in life. But Cam Young, I could see. I would really like to see it. Yeah, but who's my money on? Patrick Cantlay, Danny Berger, and Sam Burns.
I almost view Patrick Cantlay as a lock, no matter where he finishes right now. Just considering the other guys around him in the rankings, I feel like you have to.
That's my point too. That's the same reason Sam Burns and Daniel Berger.
I know. So I'm quickly looking up. I want to see Sam Burns' past results in the Ryder Cup in the last time around, because Sam Burns is someone that I've been very critical of. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure Sam Burns has that edge that I need to see in there. Like, he could prove me wrong. I get it. But when it comes to Sam Burns, let's see. I'm looking at it now. He wasn't in that Friday grouping in 2023. Oh, no, he was. He lost. So with Scotty Scheffler. So he was 0-1. And let's see, on Friday afternoon, he did not play. And then Saturday morning, he did not play.
I couldn't care less about what happened 2 years ago. I think if he's in any kind of form, you put him on the team because he's also really close with Scotty Scheffler. So you talk about team cohesiveness and unity. It doesn't get much better than that. He's a likable guy.
But if he's so that's where he's got to start, because that's the thing with the Ryder Cup. It's such a different format in the way that it's played that, like, Sam Burns has been in really good form for rounds 1, 2, and 3. But the fact that he hasn't been able to close out in round 4 in these tournaments, like, what weighs more at that point? Because in my eyes, with the Ryder Cup format, with the way that it all is, I want guys who are better at round 4. I want guys who are better on Sunday, who can, because that proves to me they have that fight. That proves to me they have that edge that they can dig down deep to do what they need to do. And to me, Sam Burns has not proved to me this year that he can do that. I'm not necessarily on board with Sam Burns being a lock. I know
I didn't say lock. I said if he shows good form in the FedEx Cup playoffs, because T7 at the U.S. Open and T45 at the Open Championship, on top of coming back, on top of the other intangibles.
But those are tournaments that he was like.
Those are major tournaments.
But here's the thing: they're major tournaments that he was like 1, 2, 3 going into Sunday and then he drops back. That's what I'm scared of. Because here's the thing:
because on Friday and Saturday is when most of the Ryder Cup happens.
But those guys on the European team right now, they're the guys who make their pushes on Sunday. Let's be in my eyes, Sunday is like the be all tell all when it comes to comparing to the Ryder Cup, because every single day in my eyes in a Ryder Cup, there's, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like those are all like Sunday, like everything means so much.
No, because these are not.
Every match means so much.
You're taking stroke play and match play. You're taking two totally different mentalities, and I think that really, if you want to go deeper than that, find out who these guys. Why was Phil Mickelson so fucking good at the Ryder Cup? Because he was also big on those money matches. Scotty Scheffler is going to overall end up being a big rider. I think, like you alluded to, Tiger, ironically, after all the match play dominance he had in his youth, he was not a phenomenal, overwhelming Ryder Cup player.
He was,
but that's not necessarily a precursor for greatness overall. But that's neither here nor there. Back to what we were saying with Sammy Burns and these guys playing good golf right now. With the upside, who've also been there before, being there in 2023. That was his first time. So I mean, okay, if we throw everybody away after just that initial kind of
that's fair
questionable performance, I think it's worth. Scotty is so good that I think it's worth asking him, hey bud, you want your friend on the team this year because your security blanket? Because in 4-ball, I think you send them out together because Scotty's gonna do Scotty thing in 4-ball. Alternate shot, you give him like a Russell Henley or somebody who can just keep it in the fairway.
So that is very interesting, giving him that status of being able to pick his partner, basically. That's a very interesting point. I can get behind that. And if he chooses, that's the thing. Like I said, if he chooses Sam Burns, then I'll get behind it, because in Scotty we trust right now. Like, I need to see that out of him, and this might be the time. Like, we'll see. And sure, what you said was very valid. Sam Burns, his first Ryder Cup being on Europe soil and all that. Like, that's a tough first go at it. I don't know. I guess you're right. I need to see something out of Sam Burns in the FedEx Cup playoffs.
Oh, I don't blame you. I think he has to be, again, I said, like, Cam Young has to be mentioned during major network coverage on Saturday or Sunday late. That's the same kind of thing. I need to see Sam Burns' name on the first page of the leaderboard consistently throughout the playoffs to then say, like, all right, let's look at him. He was kind of just hovering up there good enough. What I really want to see, what I think is going to be the breakout star of the Ryder Cup this year, because I do like your point about Sunday being a good tell. If you can finish and close, then obviously you've got that instinct. Right. I mean, that's where I say if Ben Griffin has any sort, same thing, any sort of good showing, put Benny Shades, Benny Blades. A little bit
right now, we need to see him pick it back up.
Yeah, so there's Ben Griffin, Sam Burns, and Cam Young are 3 guys that whoever gets the most of that, like, network coverage that shows that they are playing good golf, that's who I want to get the nod from that. Otherwise,
I get it. That's fair.
I think those are 3 names for one spot: Ben Griffin, Sam Burns, Cam Young for one spot. And then
are you with me on being out on Patrick Reed at this point, because he just can't show up in majors?
Who?
He hasn't this year. Patrick Reed. I know the last time we talked a little over a month ago,
is that a golfer?
Exactly. I just thought the last time we talked about it, we were like, hey, Patrick Reed might get a shot at making this team because he's performed well, but ever since then he's performed like shit. So
yeah, no,
I'm
man.
out on Patrick Reed, unfortunately.
Outside of Bryson and Brooks, those guys who went to live genuinely, and this is where we can kind of pivot.
Yeah.
Genuinely, Cam Smith. Who? Joaquin Neiman.
Fucking gone. Joaquin Neiman can't make a cut. He's gone.
Yeah,
like, it's
just sad. It's to watch this kind of everybody fall apart. Dustin Johnson was hanging around these majors the first 2 days and then just faded off. The competitive edge is not there. The juices are not there. All right. Speaking of juices flowing everywhere.
Hell yeah.
Happy Gilmore 2.
Dude, Happy Gilmore 2. Okay. So I'll kick us off here. If you expect to watch Happy Gilmore 2 and expect to see a great movie, you're going in with the wrong expectations. Okay. The storyline, the production, all of it was fine. It was good enough. I do think there is a deeper story to be told with the underlying, the undertone story of Happy Gilmore 2. But that's not what people wanted, and Happy Gilmore 2 was exactly what I wanted and what I expected. It's a nostalgic throwback to the first one, and it's a shit ton of cameos from the first one and from more recent, current pop culture figures, which I'm just on board for. It was corny and cheesy, and it was perfect in that they didn't try to be more than what people wanted it to be. Nobody wanted to watch Happy Gilmore 2 and think movie of the year. Nobody expected it to be movie of the year, and they didn't expect it to be movie of the year, and they didn't try for it to be movie of the year. They stayed in their lane, in their wheelhouse, and it was perfect. In my eyes, it was perfect.
You were my brother's college roommate. Your name is Davis. The sneaky good best line of the entire fucking film.
Right.
Man, I couldn't agree more. If you were looking at this to say like, oh, it wasn't a great movie. No, it was not a great movie. It was a movie built for the TikTok era and the millennial generation. And what I mean by that, it was snippets of just funny moment after funny moment after funny moment that all just seemed to be falling in one direction, and just out of that came a storyline.
Exactly. It wasn't forced. Nothing was forced in this movie.
Yeah, okay. This is what we're trying to do. And spoilers and everything, although it's been out 5 days. If you're listening to this, you've probably already watched it. But the fact that like there's this storyline of, trying to save traditional golf from the upstart league, and 5 of the guys who got picked, Brooks and Bryson are in there.
So much there because they were all live. Half of them were live guys.
It was so
much
fun.
there.
And I like that it took something like an Adam Sandler to be like, hey, everybody shut the fuck up, this is gonna be fun, just be in the movie. It was not a great movie, but it was one of the best sequels I think that has ever been created, because the moment it's not like Godfather 2 where it genuinely took the Godfather is like, God, what's next in the story? No,
that's a longer storyline type of movie though. Like that's a much longer story to be told.
All you have to know is like, okay, God, how are we going to explain away all this? All right, well, here's what happened to this. Here's what happened to that. Here's how he ended up here. And blink.
They fucking did it.
They did it in 30 seconds. Like the way that they tidied up all that had me laughing so hard.
Can I tell you what the best movie to me, the best part of the movie was? Fuck
Please.
Spoilers. I don't care. The best part of the movie to me, I thought, was the most creative way I've ever seen a sequel do anything, was the nod to all the past actors from the first movie that have past sets. The fight scene with Shooter in the graveyard, with all the headstones, with all the I'm sorry, but I've never seen that in a movie, and it was fantastic. All the actors who have passed since the first Happy Gilmore, who would have been in this one, but weren't because obviously they passed.
They just had to bounce off all their gravestones.
What a fuck! But I'm sorry, what a creative, fantastic fucking ode. I loved that, and that's what it was. Once again,
You're the second person I've heard who said that they were so happy about the amount of respect and homage that was given towards the first one.
It was so good.
which was good. I like that you said that. The part that I'm referencing that really just had me. I was on a plane coming back from Wyoming. I downloaded it on Netflix, and there was just this moment when
Not ready for the magic happened yet. Go away, Allie.
his wife. I mean, spoiler here because you find this out in 30 seconds into the movie. The wife's dead.
I know.
And it's 25 years later.
It shocks me.
She got smoked by an errant tee shot. I saw it coming a mile away because none of the teaser, none of the previews, none of the story that had been leaked involved her. So when I saw it at the beginning, I'm like, what this? And it's like, and then on Mother's Day, I'm like cry laughing.
It's fucking beautiful, but awful at the same time.
So, all right. So great. Favorite moments. There were, and it was just gratuitous cameos. And I think that's when I say it was built for the TikTok generation or the TikTok, because even the old people, like Nick Faldo got in it by asking Dan Patrick to call Adam Sandler. You learned that on his show. He's like, hey, can you reach out to him? And he's like, there he is. He's part of Nick Faldo, Lee Trevino, Jack Nicklaus, the greats.
I kind of loved how that table was the cool table at the Gold Jacket dinner, and the Jordan Spieth and Colin Morikawa were like the annoying fucking kids who everyone hated.
Was like the bro who didn't know when to shut up.
He was. I thoroughly enjoyed that part.
Good. It's funny.
As much as I enjoy Jordan Spieth, and I think Jordan Spieth is a good guy, I kind of found it hilarious that he was like the biggest douchebag at that dinner. Because he was the one complaining about his drink. It was fantastic. Because you know what? All those guys, all those current professional golfers, they were able to put aside their egos and they leaned into the humor of how some people in society view golf. And that's why they're very aware. And they got it, and they found fun, like humor in it, and I loved that because that gives me hope that of what golf can become. I thought it was fantastic.
Golf's in a phenomenal place right now, and I think this movie was built to kind of it wasn't built for the game of golf, but what it's going to do for the game of golf is just continue that momentum.
Fans of golf, though. So that's what it was. It was built for fans of golf.
Real quick, the professional golfers that were in there, these are the folks who had cameos or major roles. Because I'll say this, Scotty Scheffler. Now, apparently word on the street was Travis Kelce had the most acting chops of any of the cameos and stuff.
He was the biggest douchebag in that movie, and I loved it.
Exactly. They're saying he has some of the best acting chops. But Scotty Scheffler, to me, in the way that they were able to interject his situation at the Valhalla, and then he did it.
Yeah, he was
chicken fingers. I'll stick around. I know the drill.
I know the drill.
Fucking hilarious. All right, so real quick, here are the pro golfers that you can expect to see in Happy Gilmore 2. Or if you missed these people, go back and watch it, because one of my favorite was Nelly Korda. So we got Bryson DeChambeau, Rory McIlroy, Brooks Koepka, and Brooksy's wife, Jenna Sims, makes a cameo.
She was in there.
Scotty Scheffler's in there. Justin Thomas, Tony Finau, Will Zalatoris,
I will say
Bubba Watson.
Justin Thomas being like the chill guy was so cool to me. I loved that because he was like the chill, like, yeah, man, whatever. Let's go out there and have a good time.
Oh, God.
I loved that.
And then to your point, the cool table at the Gold Jacket dinner, Fred Couples, Nick Faldo, Jack Nicklaus, Corey Pavement, and Lee Trevino, Ricky Fowler, Jordan Spieth, Xander, Keegan, Colin Morikawa, Nelly Korda, Nancy Lopez, and then, of course, possibly, and this is not a cameo because it was a solid role as like the local Buddha, Yoda, John Daly. Daly drinking the hand sanitizer, living in the
the hand sanitizer was fantastic. And he's sitting there like, and the neighbor comes over and says, let me get some of that. He's like, I got my Listerine. He's like, I've never tried that before.
Him and Steve Buscemi as like just palling away on the couch. Steve Buscemi is like a classically trained Emmy-winning, and there he is taking a leak in a mailbox and drinking, rubbing alcohol with John Daly.
Fucking fantastic. And whenever they were like, don't let John Daly feed him after dark, and don't let him sleep in the bed. Like,
he is. Yeah, somebody's got to feed John Daly.
I guarantee you, John Daly loves it. I think he absolutely loves playing that role as Uncle John Daly.
Everybody on social media this week, and I say this week, it's Tuesday. Since over the weekend too, though, they're letting their hair down, and they're talking about how like this was the most fun that they've ever had. Like, and in the cool. And I thought that by portraying in the storyline that Brooks and Bryson are on the side that's supposed to save traditional golf
I know. I
from this
loved
new
it.
upstart league. I thought it was just kind of a cool way that they could even say, like, we get it. Like, this is,
Right.
we know this is making fun of us, like the league, that, or at least that's the inspiration for what we're dealing with here. But at the end of the day, you know, we still are golfers, and you know, we
Yeah.
respect this, and it's all about having fun and a good time. So Happy Gilmore 2 is something that I think I'll watch multiple times.
So, and I also love that part when they were in that meeting room and they were showing all the poor shots that each one of them hit. Like, I thought that was such like, yeah, we're gonna let our guard down, and yeah, we'll let you show these fucking terrible shots that we hit.
When Shooter McGavin is like trying to like.
He's like,
Again, I can't get this deep without bringing up Shooter. I mean, you mentioned the graveyard scene, but that was under the guise of paying respect. Shooter McGavin, Chris McDonald, he was doing some of his press, and
he nailed it this time. He fucking nailed the role this time. He sold out for the role, and I loved it.
Well, he said that he's been trying for 30 years to get this thing made.
I know, because that's the only thing he was really relevant for in them.
Well, he got typecast. It's almost like once you're the likable asshole. And what's funny is he said something in an interview recently that struck me. He goes, "Yeah, but here's the thing: Shooter doesn't think that Shooter's a jerk. Shooter is that's why I thought it was kind of cool that they're like, no, he's genuinely insane. Like, how can none of you see that this is not how it's supposed to be? Like, what?
But even then, genuinely insane. They had to convince him to even do the shooter guns again. Like, that was like a build up. That it was like when they were like,
so
good. And he was like, yeah, I'm back. Like, you know what? It played right into what you're saying, that like it's like an awareness that he's insane, and that, but like an unwillingness to also admit it. If that makes sense.
100%. So 70 some odd cameos, and I think I just mentioned the golfers in them. Let's see who else. Just a couple of names that jumped out. I don't know.
Thank you, podcast Smitty. That's we love that. Hope you tune in every Tuesday with us 8:00. This is pretty much what we do.
Oh man! Shout out Smits, Haley Joel Osment, and the little kid from Sixth Sense being the
fucking kind of Jimmy or whatever
antagonist.
The fuck his name was. With the torn ligament in his hip where he looks backwards every time. Man, I picked that out immediately. I was like, that's the kid from Sixth Sense.
So good. Eminem as the son of the guy who you jackass. Like that.
I thought that was perfect. And we got eaten by the alligators. I was like, yeah, you know what? As absurd as Eminem is, that's the way that I can picture Eminem going out. I thought
Guy Fieri, John Lovitz, Stephen A. Smith.
Pace Bronick is the Dick's Sporting Goods fitting specialist. Was fantastic.
Bobby Lee and Andrew Santino, Post Malone, Kid Cudi as an FBI agent, Dan Patrick, obviously.
That one, the Kid Cudi as an FBI agent was probably the weirder one, like the most random one. I would say.
To do a double take when somebody pointed it out after the fact. I was like, what?
I'd say out of all the cameos, that was the most random. Everybody else was so obvious. I didn't catch it at first, like you. I did not catch it at first. The Kid Cudi was an FBI agent in that.
Two questions for you. Then we got to land this plane. 2 questions for you. This has made me think on all these cameos. I think I texted you about this, and it was a great question somewhere else. It's been making me think about if you could be in any movie.
That's right.
And play a minor role. And when I say a minor role, it could be something like one scene cameo, or it could be just, a recurring but incredibly small, minimal. But what movie and what role would you like to have just to say, like, damn right, I was in that?
I'm gonna expand on an existing scene, if I may.
Sure.
When Bruce Willis says, "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker," I want to be a guy that then pops on the screen and goes, "Oh, fuck," and just gets blown up. That's what I want right there, because
you want to be the face of "oh fuck."
That would be the face of "oh fuck." That would be in memes. That's what I would want. I would want to be the face of "oh fuck."
I've been giving this a lot of thought, and I kind of have 2 answers. My first answer, I've got a golf related answer, and then I've got just like a general one. And since you went general, I'll go with general. My favorite movie of all time is JFK, at the Oliver Stone 3.5 hour movie JFK. And they do
I'll have to watch it.
Dude, early '90s phenomenal film.
Because I love JFK. I did a project from him, and I just love JFK ever since then. So I'll have to watch that. Okay.
Oh, you have to. Kevin Costner's great, and it's based on a true story about this district attorney from Louisiana named Jim Garrison, who is the only person, this is true, to bring a trial in the assassination of JFK. He went after somebody who he claimed was secretly a CIA agent who was secretly part of all this. So there was some conspiracy and some truth. It's a really dope movie. But anyways, I would love to be an extra somewhere. There's so much footage that they do, showing, they're sitting there talking about the event. So they have recreations of it.
Do you want to be the driver of the car?
No, I want to be one of the cops. I want to be one of the cops escorting Lee Harvey Oswald out when Jack Ruby shoots him.
More FaceTime. I get it. More FaceTime.
Yeah, I just want to be right there, like I'm holding it right there. So that's my overall one. But my golf related one is I would love to be in Tin Cup. Yeah, and when he's at the end when he's playing the U.S. Open, to be the person who's just walking with the group holding the signs
and just keep changing the score.
Yeah, and just keep changing the score. And that's the thing that's the change to the movie is that like every time that they have to cut to me just changing the numbers. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know what I love. I think one of the best things I loved about that we didn't even talk about Happy Gilmore when we're talking about cameos here is the leaning into by Will Zalatoris as that guy where he was the vengeful caddy, like, yeah, fuck you for choking me, dude. Like,
God, that was fucking funny.
I just remembered it right now as we were sitting here talking about cameos. I thought Will Zalatoris, now that I say this out loud, that might have been one of the better parts of the movie. Like his whole sequence of that like vengefulness in that tournament.
Yeah. Mr. Gilmore, I'm your caddy.
Yeah, you remember me? Yeah, I love you. Yeah. I'm gonna get you back for choking me, motherfucker. Like, it was perfect. I loved it. The movie was great. It was
because my last cherry on top is as we were talking about this, it wasn't a cameo, it was a character, and I think it was a new character, but to me it was the perfect. There wasn't a lot of new characters. There's a shit ton of cameos, but there wasn't a lot of new. They had to create the Maxi League, and they had to have like two villains. That's it, right?
Is it the cousin of the caddy?
It's just the caddy. Like
the caddy was great too. But I love the cousin of the caddy.
That kid's on SNL. He's a fucking hilarious comedian.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's now like a recurring kid on SNL. He's a very funny comedian. But I forgot about him. I was thinking of his cousin, the caddy. I just loved him. I just love that guy and like the waiter, the whole bit. But no, the cousin's good. All right, listen. It's good to be back. Next week, we'll dive a little bit more into what we got with the FedEx Cup playoffs coming up around the corner. We'll look a little bit more at the Ryder Cup and maybe play with those standings from the European side. I would say we're going to talk shit about Liv, but there's nothing to talk about. Instead, what I want to look ahead to is football season and TGL and what that might mean for one another.
I love that. And we're going to land this plan. Thank you for joining us. We're back again. We're back to our normal schedule, 8 o'clock every Tuesday here on That Sports Podcast Network and Golfer Gang Network. We love you guys. Stay classy and enjoy your night.